John, congratulations.
Thank you.
A lot has changed since 2021. Now that you've been crowned the new leader of the SNP and likely to be the First Minister, don't you think an election is a democratic imperative? To put that into context, you could put down a motion and ask for one, and Labour would back you. Isn't that a democratic thing to do?
No, we operate in a fixed term parliament. There's a 5-year parliamentary term. The public go to the polls, they elect members of parliament. We sit for a 5-year period, and the arrangements of the Scottish Parliament envisage that there can be changes of leadership during that period of time. So I think the right and proper thing to do is to follow the rules of our parliament and to ensure that we follow the democratic decisions of people in 2021. We navigate our way through the Parliament, and crucially, that all parties work together for common good.
John, the reason I asked you that is because when Liz Truss stepped down, Nicola Sturgeon said it was a democratic imperative to call a general election, and it was a call because the Tories were crowning new leaders. So is it not a democratic imperative? Was she wrong?
I think the issue that Nicola Sturgeon was raising at the end of the Liz Truss administration was that the economy had been completely and utterly trashed by the madness of Liz Truss. So, for me, that's what the problem was. The country had been wrecked by that madness, which, of course, I would just point out the Scottish Conservatives wanted me to follow right in her footsteps, which thankfully I did not do. But that was the democratic imperative, that the people of this country today are paying the price for Liz Truss's economic mistakes in higher mortgage payments, in higher interest rates, in the fueling of the cost of living crisis. That's why we needed a change of government at that particular moment. Right.
Thank you. You said your focus will be on the economy, jobs, health, schools and public services. In this city, the council is facing £107 million worth of cuts over the next 3 years. That includes reportedly 450 teachers' jobs will be lost, 150 social work related posts. Do you recognise, if you're going to achieve those aims, that you'll need to reform how local authorities like Glasgow are funded to allow them to provide services that people rely on?
I quite accept that there is enormous financial pressure on public services and public bodies, and particularly on our local authorities. There's pressure on the public finances in every area of government activity. That is because we have been subjected to 14 years of austerity from the United Kingdom government. Now, in my answer to one of the other earlier questions about tax, we've taken steps to increase the resources that are available for public expenditure in Scotland. If the tax changes that the SNP government, if we hadn't put through those tax changes, there would be over £1 billion less in public expenditure this year. So we've recognised the need to invest in public services. That's enabled us to give more money to local authorities than we ordinarily would have been able to give had we not taken those decisions. But the underlying problem is austerity from the Tory government in Westminster. And I'm not optimistic that the parameters of that austerity are going to change much if there's the election of a Labour government sometime later on this year. So we've got to work effectively with our local authorities, and we will do that to create ways in which local authorities are able to maximise their resources. We've got a visitor levy bill going through the Parliament just now, which will give the option to local authorities to put on a visitor levy, which might increase would increase the resources available to local authorities. So there's lots of ways in which we can engage constructively with local government, and I look forward to leading that process within the government.
Yes. John, can I ask, what will be your role for Humza Yousaf in your cabinet? And if not, do you expect to see him return to a ministerial role in the future?
I think I'm not going to go into details about my ministerial appointments today. You'll understand there's a sequence of events to go through, and we'll get round to all of that. But what I will say is that I do think Humza Yousaf has got a significant contribution to continue to make to Scottish politics, and I will welcome that. I think some of the steps that Humza has taken have been courageous and dignified, full of grace, and These are attributes that I think the Scottish National Party would benefit from seeing more of. Right. We'll take this gentleman here.
Mark Howell from the Daily Mail. You've inherited a number of matters from your predecessor as SNP leader, and among those is an outstanding loan of £60,000 to Peter Borough. What do you know of that loan, and will it be paid back on your watch?
Well, I think we're getting into territory that I think we all know I can't speak about for obvious reasons, so I'll not be speaking about it today. Right.